Am I overreacting? Mother-in-law says that I'm ruining the weird photos that she tried to sneak of my new baby. I need to get some feedback on this because it's driving me crazy. My 37 female family has been staying with my husband's 36 male parents, 59 female and 59 male, for a week, and we'll be at their home for another week before we have to head home to get the kids ready for back to school. My mother-in-law and I don't necessarily get along, but she's been trying to play nice since I gave birth to our fourth child, a boy, 4 months ago. However, I suppose the nice act has ended because she's been stirring the pot and pushing my buttons since we got to their house, rummaging through my clothes, whining that I should bottle feed instead of nursing so that she has a chance to feed her baby, the works. I've been biting my tongue because my husband loves his family, and this is some of the only time that we get to see his siblings. But at the end of the week, mother-in-law storms downstairs while we're eating breakfast and the kids are in the yard playing, claiming we needed to talk. I go through a mental checklist to try to figure out which one of her household rules I've broken or how I've managed to piss her off this time, when she slaps her phone down on the counter and begins scrolling through photos that are all of me and the baby. Photos she apparently took while I wasn't paying attention, as most of them are blurry or from strange angles. Down low, as though she angled her phone up while it was in her lap, one of them is taken through a crack in the door to the hubs and I's bedroom. Oh, that's really normal behavior. She sounds hinged. I ask mother-in-law what her problem is and why she's been taking photos of me and the baby like a lunatic instead of just asking for my help with taking photos that I'd approve of. I don't want my infant son's face plastered all over her social media. I cover it with emojis in my Facebook pictures. She complains that she doesn't want to put those stupid pictures all over his face and that I won't put him down long enough for her to get a photo of him by himself. He's been contact napping, and I wear him for most of the day, and she can't post the photos that she took because I'm huge and ruining them by looking ridiculous. For some context, I'm definitely on the heavier side, 5'3" and 230 pounds, and because half of these photos are from a weird low angle, I have a prominent double chin, and the baby is usually pressed up against me, either in my arms or in his wrap, so the photos are pretty much just unflattering pictures of me, with the baby's head and maybe an arm or a leg visible. I tell her that I'm not going to entertain this behavior since she decided to approach the supposed problem like this. She can work with what she's already got, but she's definitely not getting a solo photo op with my baby now. Hubby is understanding and supports my decision, even getting in the way when he sees mother-in-law trying to sneakily take more photos or distracting her so that I can leave the room. But some people think I'm blowing this out of proportion. Father-in-law says mother-in-law has a right to take photos of her grandchild, and it's not her fault that I'm insecure about how fat I am. Hubby's twin sister is also being dismissive because she's always been catty about weight. Why are you acting so insulted like it's the first time? Even my sister, when I called and complained about this, acted like I was making mountains out of molehills. She was like this 60 pounds ago. Why is it suddenly a big deal again? Damn, everyone hates you, OP. What's going on? No one will listen to me when I insist that I don't care about her comments about my weight. I care that she's sneaking around taking photos like a stalker because she doesn't respect me enough to ask my permission to take photos of my baby. She doesn't want to have to follow my rules about covering his face and can't wrench him out of my arms to get pictures of him. So she's just been acting like a creep instead. I'm nursing him in one of these photos. This is weird, right? Am I crazy? In the comments, not overreacting. I'd report her pics on social media with your baby and say it's inappropriate child content or something. Because the pics look like they've been taken stealthily, it kinda works in your favor. I'm sorry people aren't respectful of your wishes, but it's great that your husband is, and he seems to be trying to help. Also, side note, you're allowed to be annoyed at somebody body-shaming you and ask them to stop. I hate how older generations think that they are allowed a pass for things like this, racism, sexism, etc. OP replies, I didn't even think about reporting her photos. If they manage to pop up on her Facebook, I'll definitely do that to get them taken down. I've told her to mind her business about my body, especially in front of my children, but she's nosy and can't help but make comments. So long as they're just to me or to my husband in private, I can at least let them roll off. She's been somewhat better about keeping her mouth shut while the older kids are around. Not overreacting, but call her out on all of her disrespect. If I was visiting someone and they started going through my belongings, I would be yelling and leaving so quickly. Who does that? Such an invasion of privacy. Just because it's her home doesn't give her the right. So weird. Her baby? What? That's psychotic, to be honest. I wouldn't be able to deal with this. OP says, she's baby crazy, and so far my children are her only grandkids. I'm glad I haven't lost it, and that this is creepy behavior. If Hubs didn't like his siblings so much, we would never set foot in this house. Back up to the post, there's an edit. Thank you guys for proof that I'm not crazy. I honestly didn't even think about going home early. I was fully prepared to just grit my teeth for the rest of this visit because we only took one car on the drive up here. I'm packing my and my son's things, and when husband gets back from fishing with his dad and his brother, I'm asking him if he can drive me and the baby back home. I'll be able to have peace of mind and have the house to myself for a few days so I can get things in order before the kids have to go back to school. Edit 2/update. Husband is back. They're home from fishing early because brother-in-law lost his pole and they forgot to bring any spares. He and I have been texting since he left early this morning, and he's taking the baby and I home, and we're planning on having a conversation about what time spent with his folks will look like going forward on the drive back. Thank you all for the advice, giving me the gumption to leave early, and keeping me company with your comments while I packed my stuff. I guess I'll just hop on in the end, after all is said and done. I actually can see why OP thinks she's overreacting here, because to have so many people, including your own sister, be like, oh, 60 pounds ago this was no problem, it's only a problem now, yeah, I'd be questioning my own sanity as well, because the people that are supposed to be caring about you the most are suddenly telling you that you're an asshole for having boundaries. Husband's twin sister saying she's always been catty about weight. Why are you acting so insulted like it's the first time? Oh, so we're supposed to just let her continue to insult people's weight to their face all the time? She was catty about weight 60 pounds ago. Why, 60 pounds later, are you suddenly upset? Let's all just sweep this one under the rug. Let's normalize this behavior, and let's not make her change. Let's not make her be a better person to everyone. No. Everyone just fall in line and conform. It's easier just to not rock the boat. I really think that everyone else is just a doormat. And good on OP and the husband for standing up to those assholes and getting her out of there. Good on OP for getting out of there as well. I wouldn't want to stick around with that family. That sucks. And now, on to the update. I wasn't going to update because I got home with the baby and settled in and thought nothing of it. Just communicated with my husband and my 14-year-old through texts and phone calls while they were gone, but problems started to follow pretty soon after. After my husband returned to his parents' house without the baby and I, his mother huffed and started grumbling about how dramatic I am, how possessive I am of her baby, how I was ruining this trip for everyone. Sister-in-law began winding her up, talking about how I didn't want anyone else to build a relationship with the baby. Husband told both of them to mind their business and get a grip, mentioning to mother-in-law that he needed to have a serious talk with her once the kids left with brother-in-law for lunch. Mother-in-law rolled her eyes and walked off. They have a talk, and husband insists to mother-in-law and father-in-law that they can't expect me to roll over and let them stomp all over my limits just because they want access to our baby, that we are the final say in what happens with our children, and if they can't get on board with that, they can forget about seeing them, especially not unsupervised. He told mother-in-law that her sneaking around acting like my word meant nothing was childish, and proved that she wasn't trustworthy. And he told both of them to keep their opinions about my weight to themselves. This starts what my husband told me later was a practically 2 to 3 hour argument that only stopped because brother-in-law came back with the kids and husband refused to discuss this in front of them. Mother-in-law pulling out crocodile tears and asking why he won't defend her, insisting that I'm trying to ruin their relationship. Husband has never been close with his mother, and that she just wants to show off her baby to her friends and the extended family. Husband responds that if she really wanted to take pictures of the baby, all she had to do was ask for help so that he and I could cover the baby's face. Mother-in-law and father-in-law argue that they shouldn't have to ask permission because they're grown adults and they can do as they please in their own house. Husband reminds them that it's our baby, not theirs. And since they felt so strongly, that is why I removed myself from the situation. And if they wanted to see my baby, they could do it at our house, where they'll have to follow our rules. This went back and forth, with mother-in-law eventually shouting and stomping her feet until brother-in-law returned. For the rest of the day, mother-in-law was grumbling under her breath and practically ignoring our older children, even as my 5-year-old was clamoring for her attention. Husband paid her no mind and spent the rest of the evening playing board games with the kids and brother-in-law, while sister-in-law and his mother sulked in the kitchen. Fast forward to last night. Husband was having a couple of beers with his brother, while mother-in-law and sister-in-law have wine in the kitchen. Father-in-law had gone to bed early, and the kids were asleep. Husband hears mother-in-law and sister-in-law giggling to each other, and while casually checking his phone, he sees that mother-in-law has posted all of the photos that she took of me on her Facebook page, captioning them with, "My name won't let me see my grandson, so you'll have to excuse her hogging the frame." In the comments of her post, she was chatting with her sisters about me. Derogatory comments on my hair, as my icon and username reflects, I'm a natural redhead, shaming me for my selfishness, and obviously comments on my body. Husband flips his shit, demanding that mother-in-law take the photos down, or he'd take her phone from her and do it himself. Apparently there were more photos than even the ones that we saw at first, and in several of them, my top is fully open, nursing bra unclipped. Mother-in-law is unaware that husband is serious and tries teasing him that she thought he wasn't ashamed of being married to a fat woman. Husband rushes into the kitchen and snatches mother-in-law's phone out of her hands after a brief scuffle, deleting the photos from mother-in-law's Facebook and then taking them off her phone altogether, before throwing her phone down on the counter and telling her that he was leaving first thing in the morning. Mother-in-law scowls and starts shouting that it isn't fair that he's taking my side. He responds that he loves me, that it isn't my side versus hers, it's our side versus hers. I'm pretty out of the loop about all of this at this point. I've been cleaning the house, looking after the baby, and dealing with the cold I was apparently incubating for the first week of our visit, so I get a call from Hubs while I'm doing the laundry in the basement. He's in his car, trying to keep himself calm, but says that he'll be home early with the kids in the morning and that he wanted to have a discussion with me about our plans moving forward. He tells me what happened, I calm him down, and we both head to bed. Fast forward to this morning, and I get up early with the baby to have breakfast and coffee waiting. Hubs arrives with 14, 10, and 5-year-old at about 6 a.m. We have our breakfast, and then the kids peel off to do their own thing. Our daughters leave for their friends' houses, and the 5-year-old goes off into the basement den to watch cartoons on the big TV. Hubs and I talk, and he says he's done with that annual visit to his parents' place, and that he's planning to have some one-on-one time with his brother a few times a year instead. We go over a plan of action in terms of much stricter boundaries, deciding that the kids won't be going to the in-laws' house anymore, and while the in-laws visit us at our house, if they act out, they will be kicked out. Mother-in-law has been blowing up his phone since he left, but he's ignoring her for the time being and helping me with cleaning. He also sheepishly admitted that as disrespectful and frustrating as mother-in-law's creepy photos were, they'd given him a new appreciation for my round face. I picked a winner, y'all. Truly. In the comments, Countess Opal says, "I assume this is your first boy? I say that as your mother-in-law hasn't pulled this shit with your girls. I suggest that if your in-laws come to your house or you meet them elsewhere, then all of their photos are kept by you. That is the only way that you are going to control the photos. I bet they won't comply, so say it's non-negotiable. Congratulations on having a husband who backs you up against his family. I would have smashed the phone up completely after deleting the photos. Did he check that there wasn't any online backup of them? Your in-laws sound awful. Just say no phones or cameras in the future, and they will probably stay away. That would be a massive win for you. Redheads are supposed to have a super fiery temper. You sound very restrained." OP says, "It's our second. Our kids are 14 female, 10 female, 5 male, and 4-month-old male. We're definitely considering that our in-laws' phones will have to be sealed in those pouches that teachers are making kids put their phones in now, or something like that. Hubby's spine makes me proud. I love that man. He screened mother-in-law's phone to make sure that there were no backups before he put her phone down. I'm surprised that I stayed as calm as I did. I guess my temper comes out in other areas, or I've just calmed down as I've gotten older. I was a menace when Hubs was playing soccer and lacrosse in college. It's Asparagus says, I'm very curious if mother-in-law acted this way when OP's other children were babies as well. Is this mother-in-law's bio-grandchild and OP's other kids are not? Or is she just baby-obsessed? I don't know, man. She seems crazy. OP says, she is very baby-obsessed. She was ecstatic when we had our first, and then even more ecstatic for the second. She practically exploded when we had our first boy, and now she's falling apart at the seams because she finally has a grandson who looks like my husband. She's got baby rabies to the extreme. If I was this obsessed with the infant stage, we'd probably have way more kids. When asked how did OP's husband turn out okay, OP says, he had good influences outside of the home, I suppose. He did leave home early, and sister-in-law is his twin sister. Brother-in-law is his younger brother. Imagine being accused of being possessive over your own baby. Well, but it's not OP's baby, it's mother-in-law's baby. OP is just the incubator and the occasional wet nurse. So when do y'all think mother-in-law's gonna show up at OP's house and get escorted off the premise by the police? My money is on within 6 months. I just had a mental image of OP and her husband noticing an iPhone creeping up in the window. They look outside, and mother-in-law is crouched down outside, worse than a peeping Tom. The fact that some of those photos were taken in the door crack of OP's room is incredibly fucking creepy and strange. As much as it's the end of this story as a whole, as we stand currently, I don't think it's the end of their relationship with the mother-in-law there. I do feel like there's danger on the horizon. I'm keen to see what happens next, but I'm sure nothing good will come of it. Also very glad to have yet another example to add to the Hall of Fame of the husband having a spine and actually standing up to his family. OP deserves to feel as proud as she is in him because she definitely did pick a winner. Congratulations to the both of them for having such an amazing support system in each other. One that they can actually rely on, much to the chagrin of so many others that do not have a partner like that I read stories of quite often. Thank you for the story and thank you for the update, OP. I hope nothing bad happens after this. Our next post is by user DramaticSandwich17 and it's titled, Would I be the asshole if I kick my boyfriend's sister out of our house? I, 25 female, have been with my boyfriend, 27 male, for 3 years, and he moved in with me last year. Everything was going great until last Christmas, when his parents announced that they were selling the family home and downsizing, but they wanted to go on one of those 6-month-long cruises around the world. Fine. Whatever. They can do what they want, except they have a younger daughter, Emma, who is 18. Completely unbeknownst to me, my boyfriend had agreed to let Emma live with us until she moved away to uni. This led to a lot of fights between my boyfriend and I because I didn't want Emma living with us. Despite all of this, she moved in after the house sold in February. It has been hell. For starters, our house might have 3 bedrooms, but only one was used as a bedroom. One is my home, and the other was a home gym for me and my boyfriend. Emma turned the gym into her room, and now a lot of our equipment is in storage. I hate having Emma here, as she's a total brat and doesn't contribute anything to the house. Here's just a small list of shit that I have to deal with. The second Emma turned 18, she was out with friends, coming back drunk at 3 a.m. and waking up my dogs as she clattered into the house, normally with an equally drunk friend. For the first month of her living with us, she would steal my stuff constantly. Skincare, hair care, perfume, clothes, anything. I now have a lockable box for toiletries, so she can't get to them. Has lost 6 different sets of house keys since moving in, and I've had to have the lock changed twice due to various issues. Refuses to do anything I ask her to do because she's busy. She doesn't have a job. How is she busy? Refuses to eat anything that I cook and will demand that we order takeaway instead. I have asked her repeatedly for meal ideas, and even if I make that exact meal, she refuses to eat it as it doesn't taste right. The breaking point came last weekend when me, my boyfriend, and the dogs went away for the weekend. I was reluctant to leave Emma in the house by herself, but my boyfriend said that it would be a great way for Emma to gain some independence before going to uni. Big fucking mistake. We came back on Sunday evening to a trashed house and a hungover Emma asleep in her room. I had to get a professional cleaner in on Monday to tackle the worst of the mess after I spent half the night cleaning. I'm done. I want her out of the house. I thought I could deal with this until she moved away in September, but I can't. Especially now that she's talking about putting her place on hold for a year so that she can go traveling and use our house as a base. No. I want her gone and out ASAP. True, she has nowhere to go as her parents aren't back from their cruise until the end of August, but I don't care. I want her gone. I've talked to my boyfriend about this, and he won't budge because Emma is family and he can't kick her out. So would I be the asshole if I kick her out? Edit. Forgot to mention this in the post / maybe it wasn't clear. It's my house. I own it outright with no mortgage, and my boyfriend is not on any official documents. The only thing in his name is our Sky TV payments. Everything else is in my name, as I lived here before he moved in. He does pay half towards bills, but he just sends the money to me each month. I'm going to try to talk to Emma and boyfriend's parents. I've sent them a text message asking to call me ASAP. I'm also reaching out to Emma and my boyfriend's older sister to see if she will take Emma in for a while. I doubt she will, as they don't get along and she has a 2-year-old, but it's worth a shot. Edit 2. I am such a goddamn idiot. Firstly, thanks to all of the comments, I've realized that my boyfriend is not the person that I want to be spending the rest of my life with. Secondly, I managed to have a video call with my boyfriend's parents, and wow. Just wow. First of all, they've been sending Emma £700 a month to cover her living with us, and I haven't seen a penny of it. Their mum mentioned that I could take the cleaner fee out of Emma's money, and I asked what money she meant, because Emma doesn't have a job. She laughed and said, "The £700 we send Emma each month to cover all of her expenses while she lives with you." They've been sending Emma money, and she was supposed to be giving this money to us to cover everything. Either Emma has been keeping it, or she's given it to my boyfriend and he hasn't said a word. Surprisingly, her parents were furious that I haven't seen any of this money, and they're sending me a bank transfer of £4,200 to cover the money that Emma should have been giving us since February. They are sending it to my personal account, then I can do with what I see fit. I was brutally honest with the call and said that I can't have Emma staying with us any longer. Yes, she might leave in September, but what if she doesn't get the results she needs for uni and has to defer, or if she takes a gap year? I'm not putting up with this for another year. Their mum's gonna go talk to her sister and see if Emma can stay there until they get back at the end of August. For those wondering, yes, they have a house all lined up for when they return. They will not be living with us when they get back. I'm gonna have a serious talk with my boyfriend this evening, and I'm now rethinking our whole relationship. If he tries to fight over Emma staying, then it's over. A lot of the comments in this post have made me realize that I have been a doormat to this man since Emma moved in. Also that I should have been charging him rent, and I'm not standing for it anymore. Wish me luck, helpful Reddit folks. Wish me luck. And in the comments, OP explains, "It's my house. I inherited it from my grandparents when they died a few years ago, so it's mine outright. My boyfriend contributes half towards the bills and stuff, but I haven't gotten around to putting him on any official documents yet. I doubt that I'll bother now. He was furious when he came home last weekend, but also chalked it up to Emma being a teenager and having fun. I'm swiftly realizing he's not the person that I want to be spending the rest of my life with." Beargirl1 says, "Not the arsehole, but I think you need to kick the boyfriend out with her. He doesn't respect you at all. This is the right way to proceed. Like Emma, your boyfriend is using you and your kindness. You can do better. Start the official eviction process on the both of them. Neither of them are on the deed or paying the mortgage, therefore they are legally tenants. Treat them as such. They, and especially your boyfriend, deserve zero sympathy for the way that they have treated you. Good luck. Not the arsehole. It's your house. I would have kicked them both out the second that I found out that he said that it was okay without ever talking to you. 18 is old enough to know better. She's also not your problem. She is his problem. I would seriously be reconsidering this family and marriage long term, as boundaries don't seem to exist to begin with. Honestly, good on OP for coming to Reddit, asking if everything is okay in this situation or if it is a dramatic sandwich. Like her username points out, I think there are many layers to this dramatic sandwich. And I can see how you can kind of condition yourself to accept the treatment that she received in this instance, to not rock the boat so much and be like, well, he says it's okay, it's his sister, I want to do right by my relationship and his family, which will one day become my official family. Yes, I get the justification of the mindset of how it got to this point, but when you start diving deep into all of the details that they obfuscated from OP, the 700 pounds a month, and no one's saying anything about that, and the boyfriend just not doing anything about his sister's shit attitude when you have complained about it so many times, so many boundaries being crossed. Like, I'm surprised you didn't break sooner than this and lose your shit on the both of them. I commend you for your strength of will and strength of mind, if I'm honest. But no, you wouldn't be the asshole for getting rid of the sister, and like you are now, I think you're not the asshole for getting rid of the man either. Seems like this was a long time coming. And now, on to the update. Hi all. I want to start this off by saying thanks to everyone, because your comments gave me a serious wake-up call. I currently can't post an update on Am I the Arsehole, because this is still ongoing. I won't waffle, so here's the update. I sat both my boyfriend, for this update we're calling him Tom, and Emma down last night, and I laid down the law. I said that Emma needed to go, and I couldn't put up with her attitude and disrespect any longer. For those wondering if Tom knew about the money, he did. He wasn't keeping it, but he knew about it. He thought that it would be a great chance for Emma to learn about budgeting and responsibilities. I said that the evidence has proved that she hasn't learned shit, and if you give an 18-year-old 700 pounds a month that she hasn't had to work for, she's gonna go nuts with it. If Tom thought that that would teach her any kind of responsibility, then he's dumber than I was for putting up with either one of them. Emma tried to defend herself by saying that she thought living with me would be a chance to bond, and how I could become another sister for her. I fired back with, if this is how she treats her siblings, then it's no wonder that her actual sister doesn't like her. Mean, but fair. As far as my relationship goes, I think I'm done. I've told Tom that I need some space and to seriously think about this relationship, as this whole ordeal has shaken me. Emma is going to stay with her aunt, and so is Tom. Their aunt is driving over tomorrow to get Emma and her stuff. Tom's going with them and staying there for a week or so. When he's back, we'll have a proper sit-down and talk through everything. Sorry this isn't more detailed, but I'm really drained from the last 24 hours and just want my house back to some semblance of normal. In the comments, someone asks, how did Tom see the 700 as learning after months of his sister not learning anything? OP says, I honestly have no idea. He has a blind spot for his younger sister because she's the baby. But seriously, there's a point when you have to tell her to grow up, learn some responsibilities, and start acting like an adult. Imagination Round asks, just wanted to check in and see how you're holding up. OP says, aw, thank you. I'm doing well despite everything. Tom and Emma have been gone for nearly a week, so I have my house back, all to myself and the dogs. I've changed the locks again, so even if Tom does come back, his key won't work. I'm definitely done with the relationship. I just need to meet Tom in a neutral location to break up. All's well that ends well with that story. I really did not think that relationship could last. And when people take a significant amount of time, I'd say a week is a significant amount of time, away from each other, more often than not, a breakup is about to occur, because the one that is being hard done by more so in that situation gets some breathing room, and they get to see how much better life is without the partner that was causing and normalizing so much bullshit in their life. I've just seen it happen too many times in real life. And I know most people are going to be like, well, obviously, Marcus, that's a base level relationship thing. Like, obviously not. A lot of people don't seem to realize bullshit going on in front of their own eyes. If OP herself didn't realize how shit her relationship was until the internet, like, put a mirror up in her face and were like, this is the shit that you're accepting and dealing with. Why are you accepting and dealing with his shit? This is all terrible. Some things, I feel like, need to be repeated over and over, and the dead horse needs to be beaten into the ground, because a lot of people don't realize bare necessities or minimum standards in relationships. I don't know why. I don't know how. You'd think that relationship advice and TikTok readings of this stuff were so widespread that the general population would know about this more. But for some reason, they don't. Thank God OP kicked them out and there really was no fanfare around it. I would have thought Leech McGee and his little leech sister would have put up more of a fight in order to not be kicked out, but much to my chagrin, they went without a fight. Oh my God, OP, how could you let that happen? You needed to spur them on a little bit, come on. But no, I'm joking. I'm waffling. Thanks for the story, OP. I'm glad that it worked out for you. I'm going to say that's concluded. I know you say it's ongoing, but what else could there possibly be over the hill? Thanks for the story and thanks for the update. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.